NighthawkSports.com. It's 2 in the morning on the east coast of the United States. I have no idea what time it is down and under, but it is time for Shiny Side Out with Dave and Mecky. So I hope you have your tinfoil hat all made and cinched down tight over your ears. So take it away, Dave and Mecky.
I really do wish I could call out to Nighthawk and thank him very much for handing it over to us. Thank you. Thank you there. I need a seance. We need a Ouija board.
Ouija board!
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to Ouija board joke that my friend and I worked together to make funny. I'm Dave.
And I'm Mickey.
And this is Shiny Side Out, broadcasting from Australia for Revolution Radio on, and here comes the website name, revolution.radio. And the dot is a full stop, by the way. And that's home to fresh ideas. And you can jump into the chat room. That's where we are. You can buy some merchandise or donate if you like anything we say. Even if you hate what we say, please donate. Doesn't matter.
Just give me.
No, not give me. Give them. Give the station.
Give them. Also me.
That's it. See, gimme. Gimme is give me. Right? Gimme. So you can join us in chat room. I'm in there right now. So is Ruthless Flippy Booger. Very, very cool name. Maced139. Mitchell Bump, I can see there. Fantastic. A lot of conversation going on. And we're there. I'm there. Who isn't there? I don't know.
I'm there.
So, because they're not there. Can't tell you who they are. So this is show number, can you believe this, Mecky? 667.
667, 760 and 600. No, I find it hard to believe, to be honest.
Oh, would you believe? An old lady in a pram. I got to work on Max.
I don't believe it.
Would you believe this building is surrounded by hundreds of control agents? No,
I don't believe it.
Yeah. So, given that this is 667, you have to tune in to us online. If you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, there we go live, and you can be on the chat room, in the chat room with us. And there's a whole bunch of hosts on the radio station that you might like. If you fell into us this way, then maybe there's another show, another host you can enjoy as well. You can tune into us online on your smart device directly via an app, or listen at home on a Grace tabletop digital radio. If you missed the prior show, not the pariah show, the show that came on before us, that's Solaris' show. If you missed her show, you always miss out on something good. Kevin Estrella from Pyramids on Mars was her guest tonight, and co-hosting also Bill Grant. Good on you, Bill.
Okay.
Big shout out to you and Solaris. But you know what? If you didn't, it's okay. If you want, even listen to this in the future on some streaming platform, don't sweat it. You can access the station's archives for free and catch it up. That's what you can do. Now, Mecky, I'm broadcasting from Dark and Jung Country. Where are you?
I'm, of course, in the beautiful country of the Daruk people.
Very nice. And Mecky and I acknowledge the traditional custodians. Now, where do I start? Where do I start, Mecky? How about I start with who would guess things are on fire? I mean, it's summer here, so something's always on fire here.
Yep.
Right, and down in Victoria, they call it the Grampians. The Grampians are a mountain range, so they're on fire right now, and I think it's 30,000 acres, 350 people on the ground attempting to fight, and we have aerial and ground units, aerial not water bombers like DC-3s or 707s or whatever. No, we have helicopter water planes or water vehicles, and we're lucky there is water around up there in the high lakes, so they're using that. But it's not under control. And there's 3 major hotspots. I'm not going to go into the story. You can see it on the screen and you can take it wherever you want to. But see, Mackie, in a country that I thought was in winter, where the likelihood of fire is, let's call it null and void.
It's
but
smaller.
it isn't.
It's significantly smaller than what we're seeing. Of course, it's very strange that there's so much fire. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I wanted to see whether it had been put out yet or not. And I'm looking to see a story on it, and I can just see from days and days and days and months ago, the California fires have they've been crazy, and the houses of like the Malibu fires, just nuts. Are they letting it happen? Are these directed energy weapons? That's what I ask. I'm only asking the question. I'll say now. Because it's a little unusual. Let's put it that way. If we see, because the conditions aren't perfect for them, but there they are. It does. It gets to me. We get fires in summer. We have usually dry, lightning started fires, and everything's dry, and the bush is designed to burn. The gum trees have eucalyptus oil, and the oil burns, and it's an accelerant, and it makes it even hotter. It's very hard to cope with. The fires are so intense, but the trees, they're made for it. Most of the Australian native trees germinate in the heat.
They need fire to propagate. That's correct.
That's right. So anyone in the world who's bought gum trees and populated their country with them, good luck with that. It is just a thing that happens. See, once the fire goes through, it can go through at the ground level, at the mid-level, at the canopy level. If it goes to the canopy level, then the other 2 levels are still ready to burn. And we've found that we've had fires burn the same area 3 times because it's burnt one of those 3 once at a time. It's just awful, and I don't envy anyone who has to go through the problem. Now, we've still got people and towns that weren't ever rebuilt from the last lot of fires in 2019. Bridges that weren't remade. Towns that are still without their economic centre. Houses where the insurance company didn't pay out, or they're just still slow to pay. They're the words that I hear. And it's devastating. I know this week for me, Mackie, I'll tell you, it's been filled with stories of American health insurance companies who have denied paying out to people, and whistleblowers within the industries because of the CEO, not specifically their organization, but in general, whistleblowers are saying that this is entirely accurate, that the people who are told to deny a payment is not denying life-giving care, but just a payment. And so they dehumanize it for the people who work there, who have to, be in touch, frontline staff, and it's just a payment to them. And they were told to deny all payments unless it was extremely urgent.
No, unless they have no choice but to pay. You see,
exactly.
I did work for an insurance company, like I said before, and the directive was to not pay, to find any excuse not to pay, really. And there's this undercurrent in America now of what's the best word? Like, I don't want to make the Robin Hood comparison. I really don't, and it doesn't really gel well with it anyway. But having said that, this gentleman that did commit the crime, and it's a crime. Okay, wait, what you think? It's a crime. A lot of people think, oh yeah, good on you for doing that. Right? It's like this groundswell of anti-establishment sentiment when it comes to the insurance companies. Now, this is actually now going deeper than just the insurance companies, Dave. There's this general swell of I don't know what you would call it, wealthy, anti-corporate, maybe even.
Sure.
So it's happening, and it's really interesting to see. I mean, the truth is this, and this is the truth. Is this a crime? Yes, it is a crime. Should the guy have been shot? No, he should not have been shot. Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's not the solution.
No, it's not the solution. Yeah.
And the truth is, and I've said this before, especially when it comes to the show cycle every 100, the hypothesis, etc. The answer is love. You want to get out of this hellhole? The answer is love. It's always love. It will never be anything but love. And so that's what you have to commit yourself to if you want to make a difference and actually do want to get out of this hellhole. So the answer is not violence. That's just you're just feeding the system.
Yeah.
But I understand why people feel the way they do. I mean, for a long time now, for the last 20 years, since 9/11, it started before that, but since 9/11, what we've seen is a systematic impoverization of the middle class, and as a consequence, every other class. Okay, that's what we've seen. There's no two ways about it. We have seen the destruction of the middle for the last 20 years, roughly.
Yeah.
Destruction of the middle class. Okay, deliberately, so in fact. And now people are starting to realize, oh, hang on, that's actually what's happening. I mean, conspiracy theorists like Dave and I, that's what we're called. It's okay, I dig it. We are constantly talking about it, but now people are picking up on it. They're going, oh, hang on, maybe there's something to it. Maybe this is not just crazy rambling. Maybe
sounds
this
like
is
the bumper, doesn't it?
That's
crazy ramblings of a conspiracy factors.
That's what it is. So, look, all I can say is, it is real. It's a real thing. It is happening, and people are starting to realize what is happening. And you can only beat people down so much. You can only beat them down for so long before there are repercussions. Okay.
I'm
again,
Spartacus.
Not condoning any violence, because again, like I said, I keep saying it's not the answer. It really isn't the answer. You have to do the opposite of what you think the answer is. Okay. You think the answer is violence? Give love. And I know this is going to sound terrible, but the truth is, I mean, you look at any philosophical, religious, or other text, and that's the answer that you're given. From Jesus Christ to Buddha to John Lennon. Okay, the answer is love.
Yeah, all we need is love. That's right.
That's it, and that's the truth. Now, it's a simple thing to say. It's really hard to accomplish. But there's this feeling of anger that is now sort of boiling over, I think, in America. And not just in America, but specifically in America. People had enough, right? And it's really worrying. There are a lot of telltale signs that the world is spiraling into a fairly significant catastrophe. And nobody really seems to want to do anything about it, which again, that's everybody's prerogative. That's okay. You can, we're all free. We're all free. No, I'm not. Very good, Brian. but it is a fact that if you look at everything that's happening, all the indications, specifically I'm talking about political things here now, not natural things. But it's funny how nature is also telling us something. At the same time as all the other stuff. Maybe it's like an energetic thing, Dave. You see, I like to think of the universe of existence as energetic in nature, which it is. It is, right? It's just different states of energy.
Sure.
And it seems as though the energy the energy frequencies, the quality of the energy that is in the universe now, or at least in our part of the universe, or this universe, as it were, is fundamentally changing. It's fundamentally changing, and it's fundamentally different to what we were used to in the pre-2000s, in the pre-noughties.
Yeah.
It's a different world, and it's getting faster and worse and less easy to comprehend.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's a lot of strange craziness in the drones that's still going on. I do urge you to look at what Dr. Gurria has to say. It's very interesting. Do I agree with everything? Well, maybe not, but he certainly has a lot of good information, Dave. He really does have a lot of good information. I don't know if we can ever get him on the show, but if we could, I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah,
Because,
I would like to talk to him too.
Yeah, he's a really level-headed and a really well-informed guy. Like I've heard him talk about things many times now, and he doesn't stumble, and it's all coherent. It's sometimes people when they talk it's just nonsense. It's just words. Yeah, like I can't remember this actor he played. Yeah, he wasn't. I think he's part of the MCU, but I could be wrong. And he was on with Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And he was just saying words which have no meaning. And I listened to it because people asked me to look at it. And so I did, and I listened to it. And I thought to myself, okay, what he's saying actually makes no sense at all. He's just putting a whole bunch of words together. So that's funny.
The fellow that was trying to say that there were no ancient cultures that was on Joe Rogan, he just had his accelerator down. And you expect him to steer appropriately through these corners, but he was missing the apex, I think, on every argument. That's a driving idiom there. Yes, I would like to be able to talk to Stephen Greer. I like a lot of what he does, but there's still some, because no one's going to be me, right?
Of course.
So no one's going to be me with my beliefs. That's what I mean. So that he has contact with people, mind the pun, and I would like to be able to find out more. I really would. So maybe I'll reach out. He's been doing a lot more podcasts recently, so.
No, he has. You're correct.
So we might have an opportunity there.
That'd be awesome.
If only it were true. If only it was all true. Eventually it could be. Eventually it could be. So everything we've spoken about. What I like is, since we've been doing this for so long, the amount of things that were completely woo and bunk have all, like, not all, but they've turned out to be true, and it's quite good. Right now, where are the debunkers?
That's an excellent question, Dave.
Have they zipped up their swag and they're not talking to anyone anymore?
Look, I think honestly they're looking for more things to debunk, and rather than focusing on the subject matter proper, I would say they're going to start focusing on ad hominem attacks, because you can no longer argue that UAPs are real for one, right? I mean, let's take it as an example, UAPs, okay? Because it's the most obvious. It's a real phenomenon. The U.S. government says, well, yeah, it is. We don't know what it is, but it's real enough. So
but there it is. Mm-hmm.
It's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can no longer say and keep a straight face that it's swamp gas, or it's the Venus,
migrating geese. Mm-hmm.
Or migrating geese. I love that one.
Or it's Venus.
You can't. You simply can't say that, because everybody knows it's not. We know. We don't know what it is, but we know it's not that, because if we knew it was that, then the government would have said it's that. But they didn't say that.
That's exactly right, yeah.
So we don't know. And it's okay. Look, you know what? As far as science is concerned, being a scientist and scientific method and all that, even though we need to, I think, redefine it and find other tools as well. The one thing about science is it should never be afraid to say, I don't know.
It's that's okay to say you don't know.
Yeah, completely.
100%.
We don't know. Oh, okay. No, really, we don't know. Oh, okay. So why don't we go find out? Oh, isn't that called science? Yeah, that's all. Yes, it is. Yes.
Yes,
10
that's right.
Points. 10
Yes.
points. Yes. And before you know it,
Yeah.
you could find out stuff and increase our knowledge. But I hate it when, I really do. I hate it when these people, the self-important people come along and say, oh, I know better. What do you know? You don't even have a PhD. Oh, right, okay, that's the criterion now. Is a PhD I have to have? Okay, sorry, sir, my bad.
So, with the two people standing there looking at something flying in the sky, the untrained observer and the PhD owner, do they see something different? No.
They have to. Clearly.
Well, that's exactly right. Well, one's untrained, so you just don't know. Oh, well, you never went to university, so what do you know?
Yeah, that's right. What? Oh, you didn't go to university? Oh my God! You can't talk to him.
So when you drive a car as someone who didn't go to university, are you seeing a different street? And the cars, can you identify another car? I think you can. Can you identify something in the air? What about military observers who have been filming them coming over, US bases? I think if there are no alien, let's call it UAPs, flying at the moment, let's just pretend there aren't any at the moment, then all of this nonsense is to pass a bill where they can shoot down drones. That's it. Because that was their first go-to, was to get a bill passed to allow the government to shoot down any drone it saw fit to.
That's fair.
Because at the moment there's a gap. It goes,
if you don't know what it is,
you've identified a drone, and it's in airspace, controlled airspace, and then it's like, and what can we do? Oh, there's no more lines on the parchment, right? So now they're trying to put those lines on to allow them to shoot them down. And all of this rhetoric appears, if there's no aliens in the air doing anything at all at the moment, then that's all it is. If there's aliens up there in UAPs as well as all the other drones, and all of the nonsense that you see in the media showing F-16s or whatever and regular commercial flights drowning out anything that citizen journalism is putting out there, trying to control the narrative through what I would see. I'm not a trained observer. I'm not a military observer. I've seen almost every aircraft. I understand what their silhouettes would be. I'm smart enough to be able to turn a model of them around in my mind and see what I'm looking at and go, oh, okay, well that's either flying away from us, towards us, or it's on this vector. It doesn't really matter. It must be at this height, I can imagine, and this distance from me. I get all that kind of thing. I can identify a whole bunch of military planes. I haven't played DCS, but I played a whole bunch of other flight sims. Would I be able to identify something up there? Probably. When you get commercial pilots, that's all they do is fly in the air, and all they do is see other aircraft, and they're calling it in, which is happening for the UAPs. Still, their origin is unknown. Still, America says that they're completely not a threat at all. Don't worry about it.
How do you know? But we discussed.
Do they have?
Right?
Do they have one? No. Have they shot one down? No.
No. But
how can they possibly know what they are?
Well, that's the thing, right? And this is where it gets interesting, because, like I said, I think we said this on Thursday. That's right. Sunday. So there are two distinct types of things happening in the sky right now, and everybody's just focusing on the drones. Well, that's okay, but that's not the only thing that's happening. The other thing that's happening is you have these orbs, and the orbs seem to be followed by the drones. So the orbs appear, and the drones appear after the orbs.
Mm-hmm.
So what it looks like, right? I'm just saying what it looks like. I don't know. it looks like the orbs come in great numbers now, Dave.
Yeah, that's
Massive
right.
numbers. And now these are orbs that we've seen as part of really any kind of paranormal mythology, really. And so for hundreds of years, in fact, maybe thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
But now it seems that we are we're trailing them. We're looking for something. Maybe the orbs are looking for something, and maybe we've sent our drones to see what they're looking for, because this is no longer a phenomenon that is isolated to the United States. We've now seen this across the world. Interestingly enough, mostly though on American air bases. So I want to say the drones are ours. When I say ours, I'm saying the relative government in charge, and therefore we can unequivocally state, Dave, that they're harmless, and that's how I know, because they're mine.
The drones are, but not the orbs. That's right. And yes, I'm with you 100%. So I've got a screenshot here of the Pentagon, and it says, Pentagon rules out threats from multiple drone sightings in New Jersey. Listen to me talk. Jersey. So, and this, when I listen to the words he uses to respond to questions, no one's specifically asking of the types of things people are reporting and nailing them on the orbs or the unidentified craft. So can you, like, if I was in the audience and I would go, oh yeah, Dave from Shiny said out, and go, yeah, cool. Of the things we don't know what they are that where people are seeing, can you identify their purpose in the sky and get him on that? Because the drones are drones. You buy a drone, and drone's the wrong word too, far out. It's a 4-bladed helicopter is what it is. We call it drones, but what is a real drone?
Cool word, Dave. Come on, get with
it is
the cool
a cool
people.
word in a word, and it's the same as calling the virus. Well, it's not COVID-19 when it was actually SARS-CoV-2. That's the virus name, and the disease is COVID-19.
But it's
right?
cool again. You're not getting it, Dave.
It must be cool. It must be cool.
Must be cool.
To talk about drones in the way that they do, but the denial really hurts. It hurts, and all the people in the whole planet who understand that the last time the Pentagon did anything in regards to UAPs, like UFOs, it then changed the definition to call them UAPs, and then it said, well, the stuff we have, the stuff others have, and then there's this unknown, this other category.
Yeah. And that's a critical one.
Who can that be? It can't be anyone else.
But you know what's really upsetting, Dave? I'll tell you what's really upsetting me is the unspoken assumption that we're all stupid. We're all stupid, and we don't deserve to know anything because we're stupid. So the people in the know, right? They have to decide that we're stupid and just shouldn't know these things. That's what I find upsetting. Being labeled stupid. I find this more upsetting than anything else I can think of. And,
I laugh because the people saying it are less intelligent than the people listening to it.
There's that. There's that.
I see that a lot. So I want to quickly shift on this. So the world conflicts going crazy everywhere. I think the US and Israel blew something else up in Syria, and it don't stop. Kind of getting stuff on the ground there. One thing about the Ukraine, however, their conflict and Russia, is that the gas transit deal, I don't know if you knew this one, is due to expire on the last day of this year, December 31st. So the Russian gas transit deal that takes gas across through Ukraine, and they get paid a fee for having the pipelines per whatever it is. It's going to be some cubic measurement of gas through to the rest of Europe. That expires, and it's not going to be renewed. Isn't that crazy?
Well,
I don't know how that's going to hurt Russia as far as finances are concerned, but it's a pretty big number.
Look, Putin had an unusual conference, or I don't know if you saw that. It lasted like hours. I don't know, 4 hours, some crazy number of hours. Anyway, right? And very unusual for him to do that, but nonetheless, he did it. All good. And he is hurting because, forget for a second the cost of the soldiers in the field, which is significant. I mean, any military cost, right? The cost. He's hurting because of the effect on his economy.
Yeah.
Because he's spending all his money on the war, and it's a lot of money he's spending. Let's be clear on this. And if he doesn't have an income stream, and he had to borrow money from China.
Yeah.
He's not paying the North Koreans, by the way, just to let you know, for their soldiers. He's given them some drone technology,
yeah, there was
or missiles
a
or something.
tech swap, yeah.
Yeah, so he can't pay for them anymore. And the reason this is really telling. The reason he's asked North Korea for help is because he can no longer pay for the mercenaries he got from all over the world. He can't pay for it anymore. He doesn't have the cash. So will this hurt him? Yeah, it will hurt him. Now, you might have seen recently there was the fighting in the Ukraine has really heated up. I mean, it's got a lot more intense. Both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But for Russia, it is now becoming an existential question as well. I mean, the Ukraine is always fighting. The whole war, it's been fighting for its existence, right? That's what it's been doing. You can say what you want. They've been trying to hold on to the land, get the Russians out, etc., etc. You can agree with it, don't agree. It doesn't really matter. Point is, that's what they've been doing. For the Russians, it's been a war of aggression. It's been a war of expansion, right? But it's becoming a war that has existential ramifications for Putin. He is no longer, in my opinion, as secure as he once was. Yeah, he's still got the Russian people controlled, and they will still, dance to his pipe, and because they're afraid. And that's it's just what it is.
But the success, connected with the success of this conflict.
Yeah,
special military operation
it
is also his success.
100%. The two you can't separate the two.
No.
If this goes sideways, right, which it can, because, well, so Trump comes into power. So Trump said, I can end this war in a day, whatever
That's
he said,
right.
doesn't really matter. Whatever, in a very short time he can end the war, okay? Now, people are going to hold him to some of the things he said, and that's one of the things they're going to hold him to, right? Well, what you're going to do, right? Now, of course, you can't just do that. But in order to do it, he has to come up with a plan. The plan will be, we'll just the Ukrainians keep what they have, and you keep what you have, and that's it, right? Because the Ukrainians will not say yes to anything that will give significant advantage to the Russians. They have lost too much. It's been too costly to them, and they didn't start it. To be fair, they didn't start it.
That's right.
Right. So why should I suck it up? This is what they would say, right? And then the answer is, well, no, that's a fair point. You shouldn't suck it up. It should be someone else that sucks it up, as it were, right? And at that point, it could be that the deal that is struck because of the pressure from the States is a really bad deal for Russia. I mean, a really bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
And if it were, it could be lights and curtain for Putin. I mean, Putin has maintained his power through threat of force. He has killed his opposition. And anybody who doesn't think he has is a moron, because if there's one thing obvious, it's the Russian defenestration virus. I mean, you got to be an idiot not to understand that, right? But okay, I'm not holding it against it, because that's a lot of people do that. A lot of leaders do that. So I mean, it's not like he's terrible, or it's like no one else does it. He just does what many people do. But he's done a lot, and he's always used force and intimidation, right, in his adversaries, etc., etc. So at some point, it's not going to fly anymore. The Russian people are going to say, you know what? No, Vladimir, it's just not. It's not what you promised us.
Not working out.
It's not working out. It's you. It's not us. It's you.
It's you. That's it.
So, and at that point, he will face maybe. I'm not saying it's going to be an uprising in Russia, but you can push people only so far. And the Russians are a very phlegmatic and long-suffering people. They've suffered under the Tsars, they suffered under the Soviet regime, they suffered and suffered. But at some point, it's going to be enough, and they're going to go, nah. Because the Tsars, you know what happened to them, right? They were all executed by the Bolshevists. I mean, maybe except maybe for the daughter, but you know, that's a whole different story. But they were. The Russians just, and we had enough. We had enough. We had our revolution now. We have our revolution, thank you very much. And we don't need you anymore. No more Tsars. The Tsars gone, and they were gone. Not what replaced them was any better, but they had their day, and that was it. And if nothing else, Putin styles himself like a Tsar. Okay, he is not a democratically elected leader, not really, and he certainly is not willing to give up power as we've seen over these last 20 years. He'll find a way to stay in power. And yes, it's always found a way. And good for him, I say. But it'll come to an end. It'll come to an end, and it'll be very bad for him. What happened to Assad in Syria is a preview of what is likely to happen to Putin.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And you can twist it any way you want. What happened in Syria was a defeat for Russia. I know Putin said, no, we didn't get defeated there. That was exactly what we wanted. Like, okay,
that's right.
Sure
Sure it was.
I'm sorry, but I think that's hilarious. That's exactly what I wanted. Yeah, oh really? Yeah. I wanted him to spit in my face. Oh, okay. Right, fair enough. And I wanted him to run away with my wife. Oh, okay. Sure he did. I'm sorry, that's just nuts. No, it's not what they wanted, and it's an absolute defeat. But, hey, everybody has got their own story, right? Oh.
Do you know what I want to talk about, Mickey?
I do.
That's good. It's coal. I found a channel which is really cool. It's called City Globe Tour, and you can find out a whole bunch of really cool things. And this one that I found today was coal exports. Now, it surprised me, and it runs from 1970 through to 2024, and who at any given moment throughout the year, this is all tracked, and it looks like it's real time, but it's accelerated, obviously. And it surprised me, Mickey. I really didn't know where it was going. If someone asked me who was, say in 1980, for instance, who was the greatest exporter of coal, I don't know. Russia or something? I didn't have an answer. But when we watch this play through, and you discover what we were all staring down throughout all of this time, and you can see how many millions of tons of coal that's been exported. I don't know who's buying it. I would have loved to have seen who's been buying all of the coal.
Mm.
But Australia in the 80s comes close to the US and then overtakes them. It's just amazing. We do have a lot of coal. I mean, really do. And you've got to know that all the coal in the world was made at the same time.
By Bob. Bob made it.
Bob. Yeah, that's right.
But Dave's referring to the geochemical and geological processes that led to the creation of coal, which are really petrified forests and such.
Yeah, well, at the time, there wasn't anything at all that could eat cellulose.
Ooh.
So when a tree fell down, it just lay there. That's what it was. And the they called it coalification. And they said the various times it happened, but the most abundant time was when there wasn't any bacteria to eat. Yeah, that's right. To eat the cellulose. So they just lay there, and you can only imagine. We're looking at coal seams that are hundreds of meters thick.
Oh yeah.
And it's all burnt, but in a very low oxygen environment, like how you would make coal if you were at home. You pile up all of the wood, you cover it in clay, and you poke a little hole in and set fire to it, and as soon as the fire starts, then you block it up and stop the oxygen. And it'll turn it all into coal.
That's how you make charcoal, believe it or not.
That's right. So charcoal just means coal that you've done through a charring process. So anyway, England used to do that, and they don't export hardly anything, really, to be honest.
Suits. They have suits.
Yeah, since they cut all the trees down, right?
That's the one.
And I'm really surprised that in the early 2000s we were, I think, greater than the cumulative total of everybody exporting coal. I know we've always known that there's countries that buy our coal, and there was a rumor that they were just putting it into their harbour, but I don't believe that was at all real. I think they were just making huge piles of it, unloading it properly, and making huge piles. And if you're playing a resource heavy map in a sim, the first thing you do is mine everybody else's stuff, and then keep yours for last.
That's what America's doing.
Yeah. They're sitting on some good reserves.
They're going to be okay.
I think so. And so we're at 2010, and Indonesia passes Australia in coal exports. I really didn't know that Indonesia had so much coal.
Yeah, neither did I. That came as a surprise when I saw the timeline simulation. Yeah, but I guess it makes sense. It's a very large country, and I know Russia. I mean, the thing is, coal is pretty abundant globally. Germany is. I mean, everybody's got a lot of coal. I just didn't realize that Indonesia was, I guess, mining so much of it at the moment, and that surprised me. I said, "Oh, wow, this is a lot
compared to their landmass."
Yeah. It's so clearly the industry went there, which makes sense. Because in Australia it probably became too expensive. Believe it or not, mining in Australia is an expensive exercise because the labor cost. That's why Gina Reinhardt wanted to bring in Chinese people working Chinese rates in Chinese hours, as it were. But the Australian government said, no, you can't do that. That's like modern slavery. I don't think we should do that. I do believe there were probably debates about it though, because I don't think they just they didn't want to upset her, I'm sure, but it didn't fly, and then she couldn't do it. But the labor costs are significant, and you know what happens in Australia when somebody gets killed on a mine?
They shut the mine.
They shut it down. And each day costs millions, if not tens of millions of dollars. So it's an expensive undertaking. So safety and security are the first concern of any mine site manager. Now, you could be cynical and say they only do that because, they have to stop the production, and therefore it's in their best interest for it to be safe. And you're right in saying that. It's not that they actually care about the people, though they will say otherwise. But yeah, it's a fact. They have safety and security foremost in their mind, not because people concerns, but because it would shut down the mine and they would lose a lot of money every day. That's the only reason. And that's why mining in China is so popular, because nobody cares in China how the miners are doing. What, we got another million waiting to get a job. What are you talking about? It's horrendous, but it's true. And you look at the mining, you look at the conditions of the workers in any other country, and then you look at what companies are in those countries, right? Whatever, sporting goods companies or clothing companies or anyone really, doesn't really matter who. And then you rhetoric about workers' rights and good workplaces, etc., etc. It's complete nonsense. It's a complete and utter nonsense. None of them mean it. They just care about the costs. That's it. Nobody cares about the people or how many people get killed or anything like that. Why? Because it's irrelevant. Corporation doesn't care about that. So you go to somewhere where it doesn't cost you anything and you don't have to worry about safety and security, right? And I believe that Apple only installed suicide nets because it became too expensive to clean up, right? In China, that is. So
when you're a company and the cost of getting a resource means that you'll lose people, it's accepted.
Yeah, of course it is.
I mean, if I had to create a group out of the countries that now don't condone that kind of behaviour, let's call it the West to some degree, that we've turned to a different model. Like, if I was to make a joke using The Simpsons, it would be the polar explorers that bring ice back from the North Pole.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, whatever it is, $1.50, that's all you're selling it for? You're going to have to put the price up because we lost 3 men this year in this expedition. That's the view that we have for keeping people safe. And of course, if you go to work, you should return home safely.
But see, this is only a concern for us in the West here.
That's right.
Because of 200 years, that's about right, about 200 years of unions and labor fights and socialism. I know Americans hate that. I know Americans think socialism is bad. No, it really isn't. Okay, now any ism is bad because it's administered by people, but the fundamental idea behind socialism is, well, every worker should be safe, like Dave said.
Mm-hmm.
There should be holidays. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because before, none of that existed. No one had any holidays.
Just burn them out into the ground. That's it.
Well, as soon as you couldn't work anymore, God forbid you got sick, you're out.
Yeah.
They didn't care. I mean, no, just gone. It wasn't even a thought. It wasn't even. It didn't occur to anyone that anything else could happen. Oh, well, she is sick. Yes. Well, that means she has to go. What do you mean? Well, she's sick.
If she's sick, she can't work.
Yes, she can't. What? Yeah, well, what else would you do with her? It'd be cruel to keep her alive. Like shooting a horse by the racetrack, right? No, really, it is that horrendous.
What's wrong with her? She has black lung.
No, there's not a single company in the world, not one. Nobody wants to hear this, but it's true, that has a social conscience.
No, that's right.
Not one. Not one. It's complete and utter nonsense. Anybody, you know what? Go ahead, believe it, and buy their snake oil too. Why don't you? Yeah?
Do you think human resources, Mekki, they'll spawn a new resources like robot resources? It'll be RR.
So let's be very clear.
RR.
In corporations, and it's always been like this. The first functions to go are the auxiliary functions.
That's right.
What does that mean? What does it mean? Well, what it means is this. If you are in HR or finance or legal or logistics,
marketing,
yeah, exactly, marketing, all of those functions, right, which aren't actually contributing to the bottom line directly.
Sales.
So you're not on the factory floor, you're not a consultant, or you're not bringing in money directly.
Yeah.
You're pretty much surplus to requirement. And a lot of those functions today, in today's world, are offshore. They're no longer in a high income country like Australia or America. They're somewhere else. Now,
that's right.
Now what's happening is the first level of what should we call this? Workforce optimization. That's what I'm going to call it. The first level of workforce optimization was labor arbitrage, which means you take the labor force and put it in a country that ideally has no labor laws, has a lot cheaper labor, etc.,
Oh.
etc. It's actually worth building factories in big industrial parks. And if you look at how big these industrial parks are in, I don't know, let's say China, India, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Massive. They cost, but it's worth it. Now think about that for a second. It's worth it for these companies to do it. Okay. Second layer or level of workforce optimization was okay. Well, we've done this now, so we're gonna get rid of all the easy jobs. Entry level, help desk, service desk, all the jobs that can be done without terribly much English, and it's really just a service. I mean, we don't have to pay them very much, and it's a very simple job. Off it goes. The second layer was the more complex jobs. So third layer, and as you can see, it works itself through the complexity layers until only jobs that has to be performed physically in country, whatever that might be. Whatever that.
You call it hands and feet. Yeah.
Correct. So, but those will always be there for whatever reason. Let's call it safety or security reasons. Let's say you're working for the Australian government or American government,
That's
and
right.
whatever data you touch, nobody else can see but an American. So your job will never go anywhere else. Good. Okay. So, what other savings can be realized? Comes scripting, automation, and AI. Now we're taking the people. Well, first we're going to try, of course, get rid of the people that we still have here. See if we can script them away, or automate them away, or AI them away. And if we can, we will. Tick in a box. Beautiful. Rule Prism and other things. And then they're going to look at the entry-level jobs, especially with Gen AI, right? Or generative AI.
That's right.
Large complex language models.
LLMs. Yeah.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, you get the experience of talking or typing to someone who is not a someone, but this someone no longer costs anything. Not really.
That's right.
Energy, sure,
It's
but
an API.
that's
Hello.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's not a salary cost for the government. It's an infrastructure cost, and if it's amortized over time, it looks good on the books. Okay, that's good. It's good. It's you're just writing it down, and eventually, if you never refresh, it'll be free at some point. You no longer have to have people. And that's where we are right now. That's exactly where we are right now. We are at the point where all the offshore labor, right, for the simple jobs, service desk, help desk, etc., is going to be AI'd. It's going to be AI'd. And you'll be talking to AIs. You'll be typing to AIs.
I want to talk to AIs.
Yeah, good luck to you. And I don't want to eat my spaghetti. No ice cream until you've eaten your vegetables. Or my kids. No vegetables until you've eaten your ice cream. They love vegetables. True story. So it's really interesting to see this development, right? And of course, it flies in the face of everything that we've achieved for the workers, right? Because this is really the nirvana. And you see, there was another branch, Dave, and I have to just quickly jump on that one. Sorry. The other branch that we saw here, we created like a new class of worker that had no rights whatsoever, none. They weren't captured by any law, and these are the people that worked on a platform, or for a platform. Well, no, I can't say for because that doesn't capture it. So like a platform like Uber, I'm not picking on Uber, but everybody knows it, or Grab if you're in Southeast Asia, or any of those, Menulog, etc. Right? So if you work utilizing the platform, you're not working for Menulog, not really, and you're not working for Uber, and you're not working for Airbnb, you're not working for any of those. You're just using their platform. Now, if you don't do what they want, you're not getting any more jobs. So you have to agree to all the terms and conditions that they give you. And some countries in the world have now ruled, now you are actually employees, therefore you've got certain rights, etc., etc. But before that,
etc. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, you had no rights because the platform. And look, I can see the argument. It's a logical argument. We're not employing these people. We've made a platform available, like Hotmail, email, right?
Yeah,
nobody
for
would
people
argue
to communicate with each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Nobody would argue
all
that
they get
anybody
is
works
a token for their effort.
Yeah,
that's
correct. And you're paying us a fee to use our platform, right? Mm-hmm. That's all you're doing. And in fact, maybe one day that fee will go away and it'll also be advertising. But the point is this: there was no employment contract, there was no hiring process, there was none of that. So it didn't exist.
Oh, we got a minute left.
Oh, look, the point is, the corporations, right, the corporate fat cats, as I like to call them, are happiest when they don't have to pay for anything. No labor. No labor.
Well, that's the end of the first hour. We'll be back after the short break for, believe it or not, We're talking about human medical experiments. There's part 6 in a series. So if you're not caught up and you've found this video, there's 5 others to watch first.